relax your whole body. Imagine that you're hanging from a string and that the rest of the body is simply relaxing into the ground. Imagine that you are a big spring, and the spring is very bouncy and alive. The legs are very resilient. The hips are very resilient, and the upper body is very resilient. And yet you're not sagging like this because the body is lifted from the top as if by a string. So as you move, you're being held by that string, and yet the weight of the body is sinking into the legs. It's very important to have the shoulders relaxed, the elbows relaxed. Imagine that you're a puppet, and the puppet is being lifted up by strings, see? So that all of the joints are very relaxed. The puppet's being held up from here, the palm is relaxed, the elbow, the shoulder's relaxed, and when the leg comes up, the foot is relaxed, the hip is relaxed as well. So everything is very fluid and smooth like this. And it takes a while to get used to that fluidity. All of the movements are generated from the hips and flow outward. From the legs and hips flow outward to the arms. So if I come in, for example, in brush knee twist step, which is one of the movements you'll be learning, and now I'm going to shift to the front and expand, I'm not going to do this and use my arm to push my arm out. Rather, the movement of the arm flows from the hip, from the whole body moving. You see? The hip, the legs generate the force of the arms. And as an exercise, you can just turn back and forth like this and allow the arms to move in a very fluid, relaxed way. And if you tilt your hips like this, you're going to get a circular type of movement. See, I'm tilting my hips like that. In addition to turning from side to side, I get a circular movement. And that reminds me of a particular movement in the form, the Tai Chi form, which is playing guitar. You have a little tilt, and the arms come in a very fluid, circular way. I'm going to ask you to place one foot in front of the other, about shoulder width from front to back. In other words, the same distance as from one shoulder to the other. At the same time, it's shoulder width from left to right, so there's a space between the legs. The front knee will start off right over the inside of the front foot, the inside toe. The rear knee is just to the inside of the rear toe, the rear big toe. So that most of the weight is on the front, 70%, and 30% on the back. This is a typical Tai Chi stance. The rear toe faces the corner. The front toe faces the front. And we're simply going to shift back and forth. And you notice that as I shift my weight 100% to the back, 70% to the front, my hips are level. I'm not going like this and straightening out my rear knee. And when I shift to the back, I'm not straightening out the front knee. I'm not rocking back and forth, but I'm gliding along one plane, along one height. In order to do this, I have to allow my hips to be very loose. The muscles in the back and the muscles in the front, let them hang so that the hips can always remain pointing to the ground. It's as if they're a swing, and no matter which way you move, they're always going to settle towards the bottom. So they're not going to stiffen up this way and not going to stiffen up this way. And simply go back and forth, switch the feet, and get the sensation of the other leg going back and forth at the same level. You notice that both knees have to remain bent. Now we're going to add turning into this picture. If your feet are right next to each other, side by side, you can simply turn your hips from side to side. That seems very simple. All of the movements in Tai Chi are very simple. It's only when you start combining movements that it seems complicated. So that's why we break them down into their simplest components, and you can see how simple the movements really are. All right, now we're going to take this same position with one foot in front of the other, shoulder width apart, shoulder width from front to back, and we're going to add the turning into the shifting. So if I begin first with turning, keeping my weight constant, not shifting, and now I add the turning into it. I start with the weight in the front, I turn and shift to the back. I'm turning in the same direction as my rear leg. And then I shift to the front and turn to the front. Shift to the back and turn to the back. Again, remembering that the knees stay bent. The hips stay loose and sinking into the ground. Now you might notice, I'll do this from the side, you might notice as you're doing the exercises I'm showing you that there may be parts of the body that are tense, that are stiffening up, or that you start to feel are stiff. In that case, then just stop and concentrate on that part of the body, let's say the shoulders, and just circle your shoulders to loosen them up. Let's say the hips are stiff. And what I would say is circle and turn, circle and turn. If you circle the part of the body that's stiff, very often it will loosen up. Don't do it violently, but gently. All right. Again, we're going to turn and shift at the same time. And then switch feet again. This time turn to the other leg's in the back, and shift. My weight's in the rear leg. I'm facing the direction of my rear foot. My weight is in the front leg. I'm facing frontwards. We go back and forth. Very simple idea. The leg that has the weight in it we call the yang leg, the full leg. The weight that does not have the weight in it we call the yin leg, or the empty leg. And this is an expression of the basic principle of Tai Chi, yin and yang. Yin yang is an expression of the flowing of the cycles of nature. Winter to summer, day to night, the ebb and flow of the tides. Nature works in cycles that repeat and repeat and repeat. And if we can learn to live in harmony with those cycles, we will live a very fulfilling life. And that's represented by the yin-yang symbol in Tai Chi. There's a black shape and a white shape, like two fish, showing the cycles, the flowing of the cycles of nature. Within the black, there's a little spot of white. Within the white, there's a little spot of black. And this shows that within one part of the cycle, there's the potential for the next part of the cycle to start. And then gradually the next part of the cycle starts, and within that, there's the potential for the first part of the cycle to start. So this is the yin-yang symbol of Tai Chi. And around that you will see various animals, snake, tiger, crane, praying mantis, monkey, and even something called drunken. These are the various styles, other forms, animal forms they're called, some of them very acrobatic and very energetic, which we practice in Tai Chi. If you want to learn Tai Chi in greater depth, I've written 2 books which have a great deal of information in them. Movements of Magic, The Spirit of Tai-chi-Chuan, and Movements of Power, Ancient Secrets of Unleashing Instinctual Vitality. And this would really give you the full background about what it's all about, how to train, what experiences you'll have as you go through it. They're very good guidebooks to learn Tai Chi.